Hello, and welcome to my space. Thank you for taking the time to listen to what I have to say. I'm going to begin with breathing into my soul center so that we can feel each other and communicate through our soul centers. For those who haven't heard that expression before, it simply means that we locate a divine spark within us and we breathe life into that beautiful spark and allow it to expand and become the part of us that we communicate through. It's very simple, nothing complicated. I like to touch there because it helps me to focus on that point. I will clarify this. There's a lot of teaching about the heart at the moment. We have been conditioned to talk about consciousness and mind for quite a while, and now we're being directed to focus on our heart. The heart is a wonderful part of our being, but it is just another diversion away from our soul center. So if we focus on our intellect and our mind and our consciousness, we're up here. And if we start to focus on our heart and love and emotions, I'm actually over here. We make the heart the prominent part of our being. We need to allow our soul, the spark of divinity, to be the focal point. And from that, our heart and our mind can flow with our soul purpose. So let's breathe into our soul center and allow it to direct us. So breathing in, and allow the expansion. Breathing in, and immediately you're brought to your neutral space, your center. You feel a relaxation go through your body and your soul is present. If we focus on our heart and make it the new important one, we still have to control the way we are, our intentions, who we want to be by the mind We're telling the heart how it needs to be. There's still a lot of control, and we need to be constantly vigilant about what we're thinking, how we're behaving. Are we in line with what our new intentions are? When we live from the soul space, all of that goes away because our soul takes us where we need to be. We actually don't have to think about if we're behaving the right way. We don't have to constantly be saying mantras, consciously bringing ourselves back to our heart. It would be really beneficial to play with your belief systems and what you believe to be true, what you're being fed. Play with it. Find out if it is your truth. Do something fun. Nothing is hard work. Nothing's meant to be hard work. When I'm talking about soul destiny, soul being. Breathe into your heart. Expand your heart. Feel what that is. Read your body. Listen to what your body is saying. And then breathe into your soul spark, into your divinity, your spark of the Creator, and feel what your body's saying, how you're feeling. There is such a dramatic difference in those two things. When we experience this soul spark and we begin to understand that this is who we really are, our true self, all the other ways become redundant. They're not necessary anymore. We just live in flow. It truly is a completely way of being. I encourage you to breathe into your soul spark and allow it to expand. I encourage you to sit with your soul and listen. I encourage you to spend time with nature and allow the nature realms to become comfortable with you so that they will feel safe to share with you. I encourage you to breathe life into yourself and allow yourself to be seen. Now, I have been thinking a lot about my experience in Moorea, French Polynesia, and how I feel different from that experience. I shared a video that was taken of my time there with a girlfriend of mine this friend has been a big part of my life for at least 30 years, about 30 years. And she knows me very well. We've been through many things together. We don't see a lot of each other because we live in different places, but we have remained in contact through the years. And how she responded to the video was wonderful for me, because it really made me think about how much I've evolved, what a different person I am now to what I was 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago. Constantly evolving, constantly having my perception shift as I allow more of my soul in, out. It's already there. Yeah, it was wonderful, and I'm going to share a story. Stories are wonderful because everyone has experiences, and when we share them, it helps us understand more of ourselves, and that everyone's having experiences all the time, but sometimes we think our lives are not very important, or that it's no big deal. But every single thing that you're experiencing in your day is actually a really big deal, and it's happening for you to understand something about yourself. So I'm just going to share this story. It happened some years ago. I can't remember how long ago. I went to a workshop in Byron Bay, which is a pretty well-known place. And the workshop itself was unremarkable, and I was disappointed, I guess you would say, because I was looking for something outside of myself and it wasn't there. But what I did get from it was two of the speakers were commenting about their love of the sea, of the ocean, and how they love to spend time in it, and what it does for them, how they feel. And it led me to think about myself and the fact that I didn't have that relationship. I've spent all of my early years in inland, many hours, perhaps 4 hours probably, from the ocean, and I didn't develop a relationship with it when I was young. And then in my 20s, I actually moved, and I lived near the ocean for a long time. And I would walk every day along the water, and I loved that. And I spent a lot of time there, but I lived there for about 5 years, and in that time, the only time I actually swam was if I had visitors. And it was just really thinking about that and thinking, why is it that I don't have this relationship that these people are talking about? And I was heading home from Byron Bay, and I actually took a day to myself, which at that time was pretty rare. So I diverted and went to a little place called Brunswick Heads. And there's a river mouth there, and there's a lot of rocks, man-made rocks, to protect the mouth of the river. And I went and sat on these rocks. It was very quiet. There was no one there. It was quite windy and it wasn't warm. So I sat on the rocks and I actually had a conversation with the ocean. And I expressed my sadness and my lack of respect, and that I had been living by her for such a long time and had ignored her. And I just sat with her and shared my deep regret for not allowing her in my life. And I said to her how I would really love to have that sort of relationship with her that these men were talking about. And as I was saying that, there was a really big gust of wind and I got sprayed by the water. And I was taken in to myself. And when that happens, it's a sense of sort of pulling in. And then what happens is you get taken on a journey. So in some ways it's like dreaming, but you're awake and you get shown things. So I was sitting on the rocks, the wind, the waves were quite big and they were breaking on the rocks. And I got taken down into myself. And I became a dolphin. And then I was in the water and I was swimming swiftly through the water. And what I was observing or experiencing was the feeling of the water on my body, on my skin as I was swimming. And it was the most beautiful experience. So I was in this space and I was swimming along, just absolutely enjoying being enfolded, immersed in the water and feeling her energy and feeling her love and feeling her playfulness and feeling her beingness. And I was there for quite a while, and then what happened was I got to another land. And when I got to the land, I actually transformed. I morphed from being the dolphin into being a person, a human, a female human. And I walked out of the water and onto this land. And I had been taken to a time that people refer to as the land of Mu, or there's a lot of different understandings. But I went back, it was a very long time ago, and I became this, I was remembering this part of my being. So what happens in these journeys is your different aspects become prominent, show you their story. So the dolphin was my life as a dolphin that I had forgotten, didn't know I had. And then my life on Mu, I was being shown through this woman. And I spent quite a lot of time there, and I was shown many things, which I'm not going to go into today. This is about the water. So, and then I was in this deep space on the rocks for a long time. I think I was there for a couple of hours, but time just goes, so it's really difficult to know. But there was a sudden gust of wind and a big spray came up and wet me. And with that, I was pulled back into this time and space. And I opened my eyes, and it does take a little while to reorientate to the here and now. And for anyone who's journeyed, they would understand what I'm talking about. And as I was looking out to sea, I saw 5 dolphins swimming towards me on the rock. It was really wild waves. But there was one directly out in front of me. There were 2 to the left, a couple of 100 metres, and there was 2 to the right, a couple of 100 metres, and I've just said that the wrong way. They swam together and formed a line, 5 of them, and then they swam towards me. And they swam all the way to within probably 20 metres of the rocks. So very wavy and treacherous actually. And they all come out of the water. The one that was by itself stayed back about 50 metres. The other 2 and 2 came together, and there was a line of 4. The 4 of them came out, popped their heads up all at the same time, nodded to me, and then all dived into the water and headed north, in like synchronistically. It was as though they were doing a performance. And I was sitting there absolutely amazed. It was so extraordinary. And then I looked around to see if anyone else was there so that I could share it. And of course there wasn't anyone. So I sat with that for some time. And then I have realised, because of my friend's comment of how much I have changed, and she said, "Isn't it incredible?" And she reminded me of that story. And she said, "Isn't it incredible how you used to be such a land being and you never got in the water, and now here you are swimming with the whales, you know, a couple of kilometres or a kilometre offshore, 1,000 metres deep, and you are absolutely at home there." And it's just, isn't it just incredible how much we can change and how much of our true self can come out when we allow it. I've got tears because it truly was quite profound. So there's so much inside of us that wants to be seen, heard, and understood. And if we make time for the nature realms, for ourselves, we get shown things. I also really enjoy hearing other people's stories, and it helps when you're alone and you have experiences and you don't have anyone to share it with. You can feel quite odd and as though there's something a bit wrong with you. So when you get to share your experiences with others and they share with you, you start to realise that that's the norm. And we can all learn from each other. I love to hear other people's stories and their experiences and what has been happening for them. And all of my friends share these things with each other. I encourage you to start sharing some of your experiences with others. While I was doing my practice, I'm really tearing out, one of the things I loved about it was that people would tell me secrets, things they hadn't told anyone else because they thought people would think they were weird. And what I found was the majority of people have had an experience of some type. It is not unusual, it is normal. And the more we start to realise that that is our real self, and the more we allow our soul to expand and be the prominent part of ourselves, the more enjoyable, the more extraordinary, the more adventurous our life becomes. I have so many stories and experiences that I would love to share with you over time. They will come up as they're appropriate. I hope that you enjoy them, and I hope they encourage you to follow your prompts. That's all for today. I'll talk again soon. Bye for now.